Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of The Power of Color, where for the entire month of February, we would like to browse and detail some of the great selection of black entertainment across vast medias. And we've gone through action, we've gone through drama, but today we would like to pay homage to some of the great TV shows that have helped define black culture and help push the needle forward. So, going through the room, I'd like to everybody to express some of the TV shows that you believe explain either the black experience or help us push it so that we envelop every facet of entertainment.
So let me ask you something. If there was a Mount Rushmore of black TV shows, what would that be?
Ooh.
I was going to save this one for last, but I'll go ahead and do it first. One of the first pillars of that Mount Rushmore will be A Different World. And the reason why I state that is because...
I'll let you finish and explain, more so than The Cosby Show?
More so than The Cosby Show.
Explain.
Although I will say Cosby Show gave a template, but Different World took it to a whole other level. Mm-hmm. The reason why is because the Different World talked about real world situation, dealing from sexual consent, dealing with trying to raise a family while going through schools, the trials and tribulations,
colorism,
black colorism, especially in the black community, sororities and fraternities. What does it mean to be black? The establishment of brotherhoods and friendships and bonds. How you can come from different places, what it means to actually be family. Like that doesn't mean that they have to be blood, but it also gave us a black experience into the other side of what it means to actually try to be better than what the media portrayed us as. A Different World was responsible for a lot of people, for black people going not only to HBCUs, but colleges in general, because they have been shown that there was another way, that they were shown it was possible. Cosby's laid that foundation, but Different World took it to a whole other level. It showed black people of all facets, from the nerdy black person, from the athletic, and everything in between. It showed that blackness ran the spectrum, and everybody had their own individualism and stories.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and maybe knock on the second pillar. Y'all can tell me if this works or not. I'm throwing Martin on there.
I love Martin. I was gonna say
Martin did a lot of that as well. Especially I saw screenshots of this, but also going back and watching it. But like they was repping HBCU subtly in there, just different aspects as far as like not necessarily black family, but black friendship as in adulthood, like in their early 20s and whatnot. Trying to make it trying to make it big and starting from the bottom and get into a higher level of success. Starting from an early level of a relationship to marriage and how that turns out. Having your friends involved in your life as close as they were, and just the aspect of being able to tell a story with comedy, but also still, like I said, tell a story.
And it never reflected on anything like abuse. It never like Martin and Gina went through their struggles, but it never ended up in a physical altercation, which is something I like because it didn't display the black home as violent. They always leaned on their friends and stuff. And Martin, even though he was playing different caricatures, represented various people within the community that you would run into, like
Shanae and
Jerome. Jerome was your hustle man. Shanae was the ratchet.
Hustle man was
Jerome was the pimp.
Jerome was the pimp. I'm sorry, but pimps can hustle too. And Bro Man was that dude we knew around the community who wasn't really about nothing, but he always managed to get something done.
I'm gonna throw one out here. And so we agree Martin is one of those.
Martin would be there.
Is on the Mount Rushmore.
I agree.
So I'm gonna throw this out here, and by no means is it on the Mount Rushmore. I just always thought it was fucking hilarious. I like the Wayans brothers. I love that show.
They would be nowhere near the Mount Rushmore, but I do get what the hilarity of it.
Early on, like. I watched Wayans Brother all the way through.
Yeah.
I would definitely say when I started getting older, I was just like, not really.
So I'm going to say this about Wayans Brothers. You can tell that there are certain phases in the show by who's on the show at the time. Because early Wayans Brothers, it was a cast of 6 of them or whatever. Then when you get later into the series, it's like it's Sean and Marlon and they dad and D and maybe like TC
and Dupree used to trip me out.
and then for a time that Nick Freno guy was there.
Yeah.
And then later on in the series,
White Mike.
Yeah. And then later on in the series it was the main four, and then their grandmother was on there. Mm-hmm. That was like near the end of the show. Like you could tell if you were to go back to watching Wayans Brothers, you could tell what phase of the show you're in by who's on the show at the time.
Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the Mount Rushmore, I think that third pillar has to go to Living Single.
I was just about to say that.
I'm sorry. You first of all, Living Single set the blueprint for what all these other shows would be following. And that includes your Friends, all these other shows where it was a group of people coming together and sharing a lifestyle. Living Single not only set the tone, but it showed you how it was done. It showed a diverse group of women. You had Maxine, who was the lawyer.
She was a ratchet lawyer.
Was she really ratchet?
She was pretty much Broadman, but with a job.
Yeah.
But she didn't even live in that apartment. She lived in a literally other building.
But what I also loved about it too was it explored their sexualities without labeling them as, y'all not married, so y'all must be, hoes and sluts and all that stuff. It was women trying to balance their sex lives with their professional lives. And we saw that with Khadijah and her starting her magazine. We saw that with Maxine and her going to the law firm and her trying to become a partner.
She had a whole arc when she was working there, and then she got fired, then she started her own shit, then she ran for office.
But
Matt had an arc.
But let's not also forget that show in this attempt to rise black women up did not shame the black man as well. Because while all of them were experiencing their lives, you had Overton over here who was the handyman, but was still about his business and was still a proud member of his community. And you had Kyle, the stockbroker, who was making moves as well. Mm-hmm. And then it still showed that how two professional people were able to intertwine sexually and not implode on their job.
And I'm gonna say this too, and this is gonna speak to a selection I'm gonna throw out there as well. I feel like Living Single and the show I'm gonna throw out here as well was able to spotlight a different type of black person that you would normally see. Like, I've never met someone that had the type of personality that you would see on Overton.
Or you mean like you never met? In other words, Overton wasn't your typical black man.
Exactly.
Also, too, like
we weren't pigeonholed into being a type of black person in that show.
I would say not only does that extend to their principal cast, but also like their extended cast too, because like characters like Russell, where upon initial looks, he was just that dude that was trying to get with Ray Jean. But that dude had character development too.
Look at Scooter.
Yeah, Scooter. I wasn't gonna forget Scooter. And there was another character. Oh, the light skinned dude that moved in at the end of the show. Trip. Whatever. Trip, something. He didn't matter. But
when you said light skinned dude, I thought you was talking about the dude that worked there at Flavor that was always trying to get with Khadijah.
I thought that was him.
No, this was another guy. He replaced Kyle.
Whatever.
So I got one.
Okay.
And I'm gonna fight for it to be on the Mount Rushmore.
Is this the one that you put up with Living Single?
Yeah, that I was saying in my next one. And I see this online all the time, and I think y'all need to give respect to Family Matters. Because some of y'all be bashing that shit. And I think Family Matters was doing
I see what you're saying.
Way more than y'all want to admit.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and defend them. When Family Matters was not focused on Steve
going
Urkel,
back in time and shit.
all that stuff, towards the end, Family Matters was pretty deep. It was.
Oh yeah, they took like
they went there.
That was one of the few shows that actually tackled Carl being a cop and living in the community that he lived in,
and still upholding his black community. And he, even though he was a cop, and he knew there were, I guess, thugging black kids out there, Carl took in 2 children that he didn't need to, and by that I mean Orlando Jones later, but a lot of people forget Steve was living with them for a while.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, y'all contribute the downfall of that show to Steve Urkel, but let's be real, he was iconic. He is a cultural touchstone, and he was black.
And I wouldn't even say he was iconic in a negative way on us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But when y'all talk about how it went downhill because they was doing time travel and all of that shit, like that was silly and shit. But I mean, like, what white show wasn't doing that around that time as well? But we put that stigma on Family Matters because it's the black show.
Well, no, we put that stigma on Steve because the show just became about him. It became less about the family until later.
But see, here's the thing: can you blame them though?
Well, because
that show was going off the air until Steve came.
Because like we missed the touching stuff with Rachel and her restaurant diner being burned down. The deep thing with Eddie being harassed by the cops. All that stuff went away, and it was like, what was Steve doing next? That's the only reason I wouldn't put it on there. But honestly, the show I would put on there, and this may be weird, is That's So Raven.
No.
On the pillar.
Let me explain why. That show, and as silly as it was groundbreaking for what it did for Disney. Yeah, it was silly and all that, but when was the last time that Disney had a black lead show?
The Famous Jet Jackson.
I don't really know. I didn't really watch Disney, so you kind of have to tell me.
The Famous Jet Jackson.
Were you sure that one preceded?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely preceded.
So I'm gonna challenge your Family Matters only in a close comparison. Fresh Prince.
Nah.
Fresh Prince. Fresh Prince got to be up there with. I feel like they're neck and neck.
So and I will defend him, but here's the thing that kind of knocks me down. That kind of knocks it down for me, and it's a really minor thing, but it's a big one to me because it says a lot about how certain people are treated. I didn't like the way they treated the Aunt Viv situation.
That was in this last season.
No,
it was not. That was the whole half of the fucking show.
That was like season 2 or season 3.
I was just messing with you.
Like that. Like other than that, yes, because it shows black people in a different setting and environment,
and it shows an affluent black family who was more important, never lost their roots. They always touched on their roots.
And let's be real, Carlton, if you go to that show, GOAT. Let's get that out of the way.
I'm gonna let me piggyback in on that. That's one of the reasons why I didn't want to put it up there, because Will Smith would be the face, and it's like literally the most memorable moments involved the other cast members, like
Carlton, Jeffrey,
Ashley.
Even Jazzy Jeff when he stood up to stand up for Hillary, and like some of the most prolific moments, and then it was like, hey, I'm Will, I'm silly.
Uncle Phil.
Well, I can appreciate the show in that it was Will being silly, but at the same time, it was literally every other character telling him that he needs to grow the fuck up.
Yes.
And I can vibe with that. And I get what you're saying about him being the face of the series, which is why I think this can be near, but it shouldn't go on there. But Good Times could have been something.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for JJ.
My only thing about Good Times is I always felt like it was so damn depressing.
Yeah, it was. But at the same time, it was. I don't want to say it was realistic of a picture of growing up in that area. My family actually was from that area in Chicago, and it was the roughness of the area was real. Granted, they probably made it a little bit lighter for the TV show or whatnot, for comedic purposes when some things happen. But I mean, it was a little bit of levity in a situation growing up in that area that they kind of wanted to depict.
Well, what about Rock?
Ooh, okay.
I forgot
Jeez.
about Rock.
Okay. You hit me.
Because Rock didn't hold nothing back.
If you wanted to rob me at gunpoint, you should have just said so.
Exactly.
Rock was a series about a guy who was a trash man and he was trying to live in his area, which was a hard living area. He had to deal with drug dealers. He had to deal with people trying to take over his block, and all he was just a regular dude who literally worked for the trash company. And he had to deal with a family too, and supporting that family and trying to convince people not to look down on him for what he did. He was a pillar of the community. He took care of everybody in his house. I mean, what about Rock?
Rock can definitely stand up there, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw a spoiler warning. I don't think we're gonna figure out our fourth pillar, and I think that's for you guys to decide.
Yeah.
So
because another one that I would like to mention as well is probably like the Jeffersons.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Jeffersons too. It was the longest lasting black sitcom for a while.
Sanford and Son.
For specific reasons.
See, but my thing is that how far we're talking classics.
Yeah, how far are we going back? Because like some of those shows aren't relevant to us today, and even the ones we were mentioning, like they're borderline irrelevant, but like they still eke out a spot for us because
it depends on our generation. We're talking about. For
so,
us specifically, like we remember these shows growing up and watching these shows, but for people younger than us, probably not so as much.
I'm about to throw out three shows that ain't gonna make the Mount Rushmore.
Wait. We're gonna spin the die now. Now the Mount Rushmore is for today's time. The black shows now that will be prolific on that mountain.
Okay, I got three.
I got several.
So hopefully I didn't steal this. I'm gonna throw this out here and get it out the way. And I know we've been dishing on it, but let's Black Lightning.
No. Well,
he didn't say on Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Well, see, here's the thing. Actually, yes.
Of today,
yes, because he is the only black superhero that is a lead. And don't you sit up here and be like, "What about Batwoman?" But he has a show out right now.
It's touching on topical issues within our community.
Exactly.
I put it on there.
And no other superhero show was doing that right now.
What about Luke Cage? Would you consider Luke Cage?
That's the other question I was going to have as well, because now we're talking about we're not talking about network TV. Now we're talking about streaming.
Yeah.
And
it still counts.
Still counts because now we got Luke Cage, and then you got if we go to Luke Cage, then we also have to go to
Luke Cage is circled around the black family. That's why I wouldn't put it on there. It was literally it still deal with the issues of the time, but I wouldn't put it on there.
I think my only flaw with Luke Cage is he came off as a little bit too sophisticated for the surroundings that he was in and the situations that he was supposed to be in. That's just me compared to the comics Luke Cage. But I got three. If we talking the modern day Mount Rushmore, okay, my first one, I think this is definitely modern day Mount Rushmore. Blackish.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
There's no even argument with that.
I want to push back, but I'm not because I can't. But I want to.
Even the comedy aspect of it, pulling that to the side. I mean, the way what it addresses is current.
Yeah.
It deals with colorism inside their own family, and it actually speaks to the current generation.
Yeah.
But to add to
Even
that,
workplace race relations, all of that.
But to add to that Mount Rushmore, Atlanta.
Oh, that was my second one.
That was my second one.
I'm gonna say no only because it's speaking to life. I won't say that you can't. I won't say you can't watch this show, be growing up in another area, and not take something away from it. But at the same time, it's like not being able to relate to it. But at the same time, this show is so specifically ours, like our city.
So that's
why I'm saying like maybe not Mount Rushmore, but it's definitely deserves its accolades.
Like a Jefferson Monument or something.
Let me defend y'all because I feel like that is the reason it has to be up there because one of the things that all of those shows we named before had in common was that that the location of those shows where they took place were always the same place. California, Chicago, maybe even New York.
Martin was in Philly.
Was in
Detroit.
He was in Detroit. Sometimes they be in Detroit too, but it's always in those places. We never get a show about anywhere in the South. That's one of the reasons Black Lightning was put up there, because it was Freeland, but it was Atlanta.
Atlanta Freeland.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even the shows, because it was 3 other shows I was gonna name before we went into present day, which was Sister, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, and the Jamie Foxx show.
Okay. The Jamie Foxx show will be the 4th one.
Nah. But all of those shows are either in California or California adjacent or Chicago or wherever. Hell, Sister, they was in both.
Gotcha.
So my third one,
I'll accept Atlanta.
My third one, and I'm not gonna lie, I juggle.
Hold on. Wait, with the caveat, he needs to finish these last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
The ones that he created stand off as masterpieces by themselves.
What's that?
The ones that he created so far stand as masterpieces by themselves.
Okay. I just remember what I was gonna say. We're gonna backtrack just a little bit before you get to yours. We put Black Lightning up there.
Shut up! That's my third one. Shut up!
Watch
me.
Okay.
Watchmen.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say this.
It replaces Black Lightning. I need to save this spot for mine.
So here's my problem with Watchmen.
What's the problem?
Only one season. It was like that's
a story.
The only thing for me that's holding it back.
Good,
but the thing is, like, it's so difficult to say no to it.
You're gonna hate my pick.
It was a story that was told from beginning to end, and it concluded.
It ended on its own terms. You are right.
It concluded.
Oh, mine is Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I was like, I'm battling between Watchmen and Lovecraft Country because I don't know if both can go up there at the same time.
They can. I was just taking Black Lightning out, putting Watchmen there, and then putting Lovecraft Country up as my number 4.
I'm gonna veto Lovecraft Country. Sorry to come off as a negative person, but only because
it was amazing. And storytelling wise, what it did was amazing. Each episode was different. Not only with the foreshadowing of the first episode.
You're not wrong.
But are we getting away from our original premise as far as like what is this doing for the broader culture?
Horror
and whatnot.
Not only horror but education. I would say it educates. Like
we would have never gotten a show like this back in the 90s.
You think Lovecraft Country educated more than Watchmen?
I think they both did.
I think they both. So here's the thing.
I don't think a black show should be beholden to showing black life. I think educating but entertaining as well, and how well you do that is a tenet for how good of a show it is.
And I just want you guys to reflect on how we review Lovecraft Country, because we had a lot of issues with the show itself.
I mean, every show.
But here's the thing. Which one would you go back and watch again, Lovecraft Country or Arrow?
Wait a minute.
You heard what I said. Which one would you go? If you had to go back and watch a show again, which one would you watch? Lovecraft Country or Arrow?
Okay.
You can't deny that that one show has a higher quality.
I would only watch Arrow up to season 2.
So here's another comparison I'll make too. Like, I know you didn't watch the show because you're a person, but what did you learn? What would you have learned watching HBO's Girls as compared to watching Lovecraft Country?
I have no clue.
Exactly. and
I'm not to say that you couldn't have learned anything from Lovecraft Country. Don't get me wrong.
Speaking
not
of
saying
which,
that.
I have a question because this is gonna be weird.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say that Lovecraft Country. It touched to me, it was surface level.
What if we?
I know it sounds weird, but some of the issues were kind of surface level.
What if we took out Lovecraft Country and put in Insecure?
So,
Remind me of Insecure?
Insecure was the show.
Issa Rae.
Issa Rae.
So here's my thing, and this is why I want to be like
blueprint. The blueprint was already written for Insecure with Living Single.
Well, no. Insecure was an internet based docudrama. Well, so pretty much it was like.
So it was Awkward Black Girl. Okay, so here's the thing. Issa Rae took her Awkward Black Girl series from the internet and was able to craft another story similar to some of those things that she talked about in Awkward Black Girl, which is fine.
Which is why I'm putting it in there from where it began and where it ended up.
But to me, that's just her.
Okay.
So here's my thing, and this is one of the things why I was throwing shows out there like Black Lightning and why I was struggling to kick it off for a Lovecraft Country or a Watchmen. And it's because I feel like from where we were back in the 90s and shit like that to today, like the only shows that you could get that feature a black cast or anything like that was a sitcom that was like comedy or family related and shit like that. Like we in the 2020s now and we've been doing it all. We've been diversifying. And that's kind of a pushback that I give when I hear a new project comes out that's black related, because if they're not doing anything different, I'm not gonna want to see it. I don't want to see slavery bullshit, you know. And while I'm not as adverse to anything similar to Insecure when a new something like that comes out, at the same time, like, this is the same shit that we've seen back in the 90s. Like, we can do so much more.
So, okay, question.
Which is why I would allow in a sense, I would be comfortable with like a Lovecraft Country being up there because it did delve into the horror sci-fi more, and they went hardcore with it. Mm-hmm. I'm okay in that aspect.
So what about Dave Chappelle and Boondocks? Would they be?
Oh, fuck. I think that's one of them is the fourth pillar on the previous one.
No, I think it's more modern.
Yeah, I think they're more modern.
But would they be up there?
Definitely so. Yeah. I think it would
we can put six hands up there. I
would think it would have to be Chappelle. Over Boondocks? Yeah. Yes.
Not sleeping on Chappelle at all.
No.
Like, Chappelle show defined a generation.
Right. And
but Aaron Magruder tried.
I think a strong. I'm a fight hard for Boondocks on this one, but I wouldn't put it. I don't know if I would put it over a Chappelle show though. Really? But I think Boondocks is a cartoon, animated series that. Look, I'm not saying something like Static Shock wasn't specifically ours. But like Boondocks was specifically ours. If you get what I'm saying,
yeah. Definitely.
Like it was crafted specifically from jump. Like I mentioned Static Shock. Static Shock was made for the kids. It was made for the titty tots. But like if you was white, you could watch it too. It was made for you too. But like, and I'm not saying white people couldn't watch Boondocks. But like when he made it, it was for us. Like we get it. Like it was for us to get, for us to know, for us to understand.
The R. Kelly shit, like the nuance.
They didn't have to explain it to the audience.
Exactly.
I got you.
So, does anybody have any more?
I mean, there's plenty of more that we could talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but we would spend hours talking about black
I didn't
media.
even mention Everybody Hate Chris.
Oh God.
Yeah. I mean, like we like I said, we can go on for hours. I think that we definitely have made gains as far as
I would even put Star Trek Discovery up there, but that's just me.
I haven't watched. I know it's black led, but I mean, then we got
because I left off because there was one show I left off that I thought could be put up there, but it's black led, but it's really a multiracial cast, and that's Boston Public.
Yeah.
I'll see your Boston Public and raise you New York Undercover.
Ooh.
I see your New York Undercover and raise you Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Ooh.
Wait, Brooklyn
Nine-Nine.
Majority minority cast.
It is, but the
The
face
lead
of
is a
Brooklyn.
white man. Well, He's Jewish. But
moving on.
So all in all, you guys can see our dilemma without them trying to put up these shows up here that actually speaks to a generation and actually represents the pinnacle of blackness. Although we have our difference of opinion here, you may have some shows out there that stood the test of time, or maybe even modern shows right now that stand out and say, yes, we have arrived.
Luther.
Oh, God, we didn't put Luther in there?
So I'm going to say no. I mean, granted, Luther started off strong. There's only so much Idris Elba can do to carry a show.
Idris Elba can do everything. But
I'm Idris Elba.
But you see our dilemma right now. Maybe in the comments down there, you can put some shows out there that that speaks profoundly to black culture and how far black entertainment has gone. Like and subscribe. Thank you guys for joining us and watching. But until next time, stay proud.
Yeah, it's so much that can go on the list. But as far as like we through the Mount Rushmore question, I was like,
You see, we didn't mention the life of Empire and Power.
Right. We weren't going to.
Right. However,
you might as well mention Tyler Perry.
However, they popping.
Mm-hmm.
And they're popping for a reason.
Yeah. Like, we don't watch it, but it's speaking of somebody.
They're low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
So I mentioned Blackish, and I wouldn't put mix-ish up there, but I be watching the clips and them shit be funny. They auntie and they granddaddy is hilarious.
You know the grandparents are getting the show, right?
Really?
Yeah.
They stop. You hit go. Leave it alone.
Did you guys have put Dear White People on there?
I forgot about Dear White People.
It was a TV show. I was saying, I finished the first season, but I never finished the second season because I felt like so here's my thing about black TV shows. I feel like they get to a point where they've made the point, and there's no really more points to make.
Exactly. That's why I'm afraid for Black Lightning.
Yeah.